couple of guest speakers. We're looking forward to their presentation. We also have our mayor and Mayor John Ryan, and also Police Chief Jay Miller, and also Fire Chief Tom Stasinski here with us this morning too. So we welcome you guys very much. So I was going to introduce our directors for the upcoming time, table by table, and if anybody would like to say a few words about their own businesses, that would be great. Also, if you are one of our current or past directors, if you could mention that, please. So let's start with that then. Maybe we should start at the back table. John?
John Fanning, and my company is Fanning Communications.
Ian Holland said my company is Cornerstone Bank.
Good morning, I'm Julie Carlson, and I am with Metro South Medical Center. New to the organization, this is my 5th week, so thank you all for having me.
I'm John Baer. I'm the big mouth that's going to be on the stage in a few minutes talking to you.
I'm Mark Neal. I'm an attorney. All you do is probate and estate planning. Good morning. I'm Mark Albrecht. I'm a CPA from Waukesha, Wisconsin, with Shorthand.
Okay. Gus, would you like to go next?
Coleman Frank with Sertoma Center on the corner. And we introduced Rich Seiler from Seiler Insurance, and he wants to say something about Sertoma Center and something supporting for us.
All right.
I know you're going to get introduced, didn't you?
Well, good morning. I had the privilege of meeting with Mayor Ryan yesterday. He invited me to come say a couple words today. So I appreciate you guys giving me a couple minutes of your time. First of all, my background, my family's insurance agency has been in the Alsip area since the 70s, early, late 60s. It was called Seiler Insurance Services on 123rd and Pulaski. And my main reason for being here today is I left a flyer on everyone's table with a charity event called Cruise for a Cause. Since high school, I've always been involved with special needs, donating and volunteering. And then after college, I wanted to dive into more of the business side, and I created a charity event called Cruise for a Cause. Last year was my first year, and ran it for the Sertoma Center. And we raised about $61,000. And this year, with a few changes, we rented a bigger boat, the Odyssey, off the Navy Pier, total 750 people. We have a different genre of music on each floor. It's a one ticket, $150, all you can drink, all you can eat, 4 hours of live entertainment, with an after party, with transportation and everything. So just wanted to introduce myself, invite everybody, and share that with you. So thank you for your time.
Follow that. Yeah. I'm Christina Garbus with Physicians Immediate Care. So we're relatively new in the area. We've been here for 2 years. We have got a clinic that specializes in occupational health on Sister Road 129. So thank you for having me. I'm new to the association as well. And we are related to staff. We are.
Hi, I'm Ray Benitis with Sertoma Center.
Bob Strauss, President of CNB Bank, also the board chairman of the Sertoma Center.
Carolina Pino, Director of Human Resources for Sertoma Center.
I am Deborah Murillo, Director of Advancement and Communications for Sertoma Center.
I'm Paul Phillips, Assistant Executive Director at Sertoma Center.
Okay.
Dan Lombard with the Lombard Company, past director and past president of the Alsip Industrial Association.
Mike Lombard with the Lombard Company, and then we moved in here about 1960.
I'm Brian Lombard, I'm also with the Lombard Company.
I'm Karen Smith with Automatic Fire Controls. We can handle all of your fire and sprinkler inspections.
Eric Nickerson, Augusta John Fanning, former Heritage Explorer, 25 years in the state of Illinois, semi-retired. I am a consultant and actually a banker.
Good morning, Cliff Kelly. I'm a guest, but I'm also involved in the media. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Denise Kappas, I'm the Executive Recording Secretary of Alsip Industrial Association, and I also work for Calco Limited.
Good morning, I'm Jim McKenna with Allegro Marketing Print Mail, past president, current director, also a board member of the Oak Lawn Chamber of Commerce, and director of the St. Michael's Men's Club Racquetball.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Netherton. I am with the University of Chicago at Ingalls Hospital. The division I'm in occupational medicine, and I'm a board member of Alsip for probably 4 or 5 years now. So a long time, so we're a great group. So welcome to the new members as well. And if you need any occupational health needs, give me a call.
Aaron Franker, industrial, welder, rebuilder. Obviously, we repair welding. Also a director.
Ron Florence, working with John Bear from the insurance company.
Jim Willard, Chief of Police for the Village of Alsip.
Morning. John Ryan, I'm the mayor for the Village of Alsip.
Tom Sosnowski, Fire Chief, Village of Alsip Fire Department.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. And I guess with that, I'd like to turn over the podium to Arnie Franker, who's our new incoming president, and he'll take it from here.
In appreciation for being president of the Alsip Industrial Association, I would like to present you this nice vase.
Well, thank you very much. It's beautiful.
All right, we'll start our program out with a couple of short speeches by our village officials, kind of give us a hand on what's going on in the village and what we could look forward to. So we'll start out with the guy who keeps our buildings from burning down, Chief Tom Sosinski.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. I always enjoy meeting with this group. As far as the business world, some of the things you're going to see coming up, we're going to be starting our annual inspections sometime around June again, so expect to see our folks in your businesses kind of go through them. It takes us almost about a year to go through all the businesses. We roughly have 850 businesses we have to inspect, plus another 1,400 apartment and condo buildings, so our guys are busy throughout the year. A couple years ago, the village reinstated the inspection fees. We kind of redesigned them so they are a little bit more, we're actually covering our costs. It's not designed to make money. Everybody thought it was, and everybody's been accepting of it as well. So again, it's there because all of our inspectors do have to come back off duty. We do have 8 firefighters that are on duty every day. Their job is to go on calls. And if they're doing other things, it's hard for them to go on call. So last year we ran roughly 3,645 calls. That's over 10 calls a day. So we're pretty busy. We have 2 frontline ambulances, 2 frontline engines. So we're always constantly doing something else. So that's why we had to do the inspections off duty, and that's why we had to initiate the inspection fee. So if anybody has any questions or any concerns during the annual inspections, please give me a call or email me. That's the easiest way. Like I said, it takes us a while to go through all of them as well. So we appreciate everybody's cooperation when our inspectors do come out as well. So again, it's there for protecting the business as well as your employees and your customers as well. So the next thing is we also offer a lot of programs to the business community. We offer CPR and first aid. About 4 or 5 years ago, we kind of condensed the cost to make it a little bit more affordable. So we would usually do groups at 10 at a very reduced rate compared to what we used to do. And it's just to try to get all your personnel trained in CPR, because we've had quite a few incidents over the years. Somebody's had a heart attack and nobody knew what to do and they were just standing around. So their best chance of survival is 2 things: early CPR and early using the AED, if you will, is defibrillation. And I know a lot of businesses have defibrillators in there as well. So again, that's their best bet for survival. And also, if we do get called for a possible heart attack, you'll see 6 or 7 firefighters show up. Again, we send that many because, again, it increases their chance of survival. So we have a lot of folks that show up, but again, they all have specific jobs to do. We also offer fire extinguisher training programs. I know a lot of businesses have taken advantages of it over the last couple of years. Last year was very busy for us. I think we picked up another 10 or 15 businesses. We do have 2 gentlemen that run our public education programs, and they've just been busy scheduling programs all together between the CPR and the fire extinguishers. The last program, which is going to be new this year, we've talked about it because of the amount of active shooter events, but also we look at it as the type of businesses that we have in our town. There's always a possibility of somebody getting severely cut or injured by between machinery or equipment that they have in there. So we're going to start offering bleeding control classes, and also a resource to buy specific equipment for bleeding control, such as tourniquets and stuff like that. So that's going to be new. Probably see that sometime around the summertime. We're going to start advertising for that. And again, other programs do have a cost, but they're a very small cost compared to other companies that are offering the same type of product, if you will. We have the cost just to cover our costs of paying our guys' salaries, and that's it. That's all we're looking at. So that's going to be probably one of the big ones I think is going to see more popular, just because, again, the amount of active shooter incidents that are just growing almost every week. There's something somewhere, and we had another school shooting yesterday out in Colorado. So, and then a couple months ago, and one of the reasons why this sparked this is because what happened in Aurora several months ago. So, and then for us, just the world we live in, and if we can train your folks to take care of some of the issues before we get there, the better chance that these guys have to survive and all that. So, anybody have any questions for me at all?
How many calls did you get? Probably a lot from our Officer Trauma Center, and you are always there for us. Same thing with the police, and we appreciate you more than you would ever know.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're a very unique community in our area because if you look at the size of our town's almost 7.5, a little bit under 8 square miles. And out of that town, 40% is residential. The rest is commercial and industrial. So we have a large commercial industrial base. And during the daytime, you're looking at almost 60 to 70,000 people in town. That doesn't include the 185,000 cars that go down the tollway every day, plus everybody on Cicero or 127th or wherever you're gridlocked during the day as well with traffic and all that. So we do our best. And our guys, they are to be professional, and they need to be professional. I think our guys are very good at that. And they're also very highly trained. So we spend a good portion of our day every day doing training. And again, because of the unique challenges of our village, they have to be trained in specialty areas as well. So, all right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Next, we'll have the man who keeps us safe, Police Chief Jay Miller.
Tom's old hat at this, so I'll give you a little bit of background on me because I'm kind of new to this. So, I spent 22 years in law enforcement. I've been chief of police for almost the last 2 years here at the village of Alsip. I've been with Alsip for going on 19 years. We have 42 sworn officers. Since I've taken over, we've been above 40 consistently, which is a credit to the mayor and the village board to make those funds available to keep us staffed. Last year, we answered about 32,000 calls for service, which was consistent with 2017. So our call volume has gone up dramatically over the last several years. We're definitely not getting any slower. So, some of the new programs that we implemented a walk and talk program for our residential area. Officers are assigned different neighborhoods over a 2-week period, and then they rotate throughout the neighborhood throughout the season. So from May through November, given the weather, they get out of their car, they walk for 20 minutes The whole purpose is to interact and engage with citizens, to maybe hear about concerns that may not typically be called into the police department, and to get a feel for what officers are in that neighborhood so they can kind of put a face to who's in that area. We conducted our first Citizen Police Academy. It consisted of 20 residents. We put them through a 10-week class to give them a better understanding of what we do, how we do it, all the different hats that we wear, from psychologist to social worker to parenting, and it turned out pretty good. Everyone had a good time. In fact, a lot of the reviews, people wanted it to go longer. So they didn't get paid for it. They volunteered their time, but they had a good time. So we just recently bought, within the last 6 months, a use of force simulator. So in the old days, you had basically a shoot or don't shoot scenario. This simulator actually engages all aspects of use of force. It's a huge video screen. Officers are equipped with a laser firearm, a laser OC spray, a laser taser, and they basically have to start from the beginning. So they show up, and the scene can either escalate to where they have to use one of those types of forces, or just by them talking, the instructor can de-escalate it to where the person complies. So it's a huge liability issue for every law enforcement agency, and it's training our officers to use their discretion and use their tools, and hopefully come out of it, safe for everybody. That use of force simulator was about a $40,000 purchase, and we purchased that with drug asset forfeiture money. So it didn't cost the village, taxpayers, or anything. And again, it's a valuable tool for everybody in the community. We have a crime report system. It's online on our website. There's a link for it. So basically, you as a business owner can get in there and see what's going on in your neighborhood. You could search the last 24 hours, the last week, the last 3 months. It gives you a map, and you can kind of see what's happening, so you can kind of stay informed and make some changes to your security and stuff like that throughout the village. Social media, we've actively been involved with Facebook, Twitter, and we have a police website. We do post a lot of stuff on Facebook, so if you guys have business Facebooks, or your managers or whatever are involved in that, it's a good idea to go ahead and just click us so you can get some updates. We try and share a lot of stuff that doesn't make it out normally to the public, like a lot of positive things that we're doing and events that we're having. Smart 911, this is a huge asset to the business community. You can put as much information into the system as you want. It's on the brochures that were left at your table. You could put information about your household members, your business. You could even upload floor plans for your business if you'd like, which would help us in a active shooters type scenario. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. At the very least, all your management should register for the emergency alert system on there. If something's going on in the village, be it a fire or police issue, and we send out an alert through dispatch, it'll come up on your cell phones, and at least your managers will be aware of what's going on in your area. So since 2017, when I took over, I actually felt like, to be honest with you, we were kind of lacking with our engagement in the business community. We implemented several new things to engage you more and make your areas safer. Some of those things that we did is we participated in a large-scale multi-agency active shooter drill in 2017 at the Swaparama. That included the fire department, actually multiple fire departments, multiple police departments, and Homeland Security. In 2018, we also participated in a large-scale multi-agency active shooter drill in Oak Lawn at their metro station. We train our officers regularly in active shooter scenarios. We do scenarios with the fire department on a regular basis. We do training annually, so we are well prepared should that ever happen. We train for when it happens, not if it happens. We have 3 certified instructors to give presentations on active shooters They conduct security review of your business, and then they set you up with a online training that they do before they come and do their presentation. So that is through the Homeland Security website. They'll send you the link, and you take that training. When you're done with that training, they'll come out and do a presentation and security assessment for you. We've done about 10 of those over the last year, especially since Aurora business has picked up. We've done businesses such as Arkema, GC America, Tuthill Pump, and Annixter, and currently we're able to provide that to you at no cost. In closing, I just wanted to reiterate the Smart 911. If you take the time to go on the website and review that, it's a huge asset to you and to us should something ever happen. Smart 911, you can build your own safety profile, and it also gives us a GPS location. Now, it does that for us without you having to do anything. That's just part of the software package that's in there. But the main thing is also to register for those emergency alerts at the very least. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jay. And the last official, the man with the plan, our own Commander-in-Chief, Mayor John Ryan.
Good morning. I just wanted, as the police and fire chief mentioned, it's nice to have an opportunity to come out and address everybody this morning and just give you some quick updates what we're doing in the village. Much like Chief Miller, I had the privilege of appointing the chief when I first came on board 2 years ago. I really enjoy what I'm doing for the village, and much like Mayor Strauss, I mean, and Mayor Nicholson, thank you for being out this morning yet too. This is really every day presents small challenges, and every day, when I'm thinking I'm having a great day, it doesn't mean it's a great day for everybody else too. And I don't want to over patronize, but certainly I appreciate the department heads that I have. We meet regular. We meet as a group at least once a month, but I meet individually every week with all my department heads. And police and fire chief are doing a wonderful job. We're under a lot of pressure all the time, obviously to perform at our highest value, but at the same time, more importantly, is we train hard. We never want to come off, especially when you put up to the city of Chicago and all the problems that the city deals with. We never want to come off looking like Mayberry and stuff. We want to come off as one of the best trained departments around there and stuff then too. And these guys are doing a great job. I've had when I first came on board 2 years ago, as the chief just mentioned, they rented out with the help of some of the hospitals to get grant money and stuff then too. We rented out the flea market for the day for an all-out assault on the flea market for an active shooter drill. That was great to see 15 fire departments come in, all the police department. Everybody, it was had like a shootout. We had kids that came in on a bus from Eisenhower High School, and they were victims, loaded up with blood and everything. And it was the real McCoy. And all the hospitals set up tents on the property too, so everybody got to practice their trade for the day with triage and everything else. It was great. And then not too long ago too, we had a tabletop exercise that on the surface looked boring, but we did something at the library with Homeland Security, and it was a train derailment simulated, and we had on big screens and stuff like that. And we were all put in separate rooms, and some people were in the control room, some people were in resources and everything else. And it's amazing how something like that we all take for granted, that a train can flip over and you can have 100 and some cars on that train, and you have no idea what's in that car that's laying outside spilling something all over the road, and it's next to a public pool and everything else. And everybody's running around trying to figure out what to do. And for a guy like me, being a new person in this role, it was essential for me to be there. And actually, Homeland Security said that too. It's not often that elected officials actually participate in training exercises like that. Where the biggest thing is getting a hold of that manifest that the engineers got up front, and you got to count the cars. What's in car number 85 and stuff then too? Well, it's butane. It's leaking all over, and that reacts to water. Water won't put that out and stuff. It's going to burn all day. Now we need public works out there with sand and everything else. So it was a good exercise to do, and I appreciate the guys inviting me to participate in something like that, because again, one of my roles, everything, we physically did this yet too, they would tell you, hey, Mayor, we need to evacuate 1 square mile. You need to call IDOT and shut down the 294 expressway right now and stuff then too. And what you do is you call up, I called the tollway rather. Call them up, said, this is only a drill, this is Mayor Ryan. I need to shut down that tollway right now. And they're like, there was like a pause and he goes, Mayor, you said that's a drill, right? I go, yeah. He goes, good. He goes, excellent, man, you're in on this thing then, huh? I says, yeah, that kind of thing. So he goes, that's cool. He goes, well, hopefully it doesn't ever come to that. I said, I agree, sir, but I says, understand we're all practicing our part here and stuff, and that's big. We answer that both, the fire chief tells me all the time that we answer a lot of calls on the expressway all the time, and anybody that gets a wreck on 294 is going to be a good one. So I appreciate the hard work that both police and fire and all my departments do. I was just joking with the fire chief a few minutes ago. Monday night we had a student government night, and last year I brought in high school kids. This year, Monday night I had 8th graders, and they sat in as village trustees with the trustees. And we actually hired, we swore in 3 new firefighters, 1 female, which was good to hear. And we actually, not just recently, we promoted a female firefighter to the rank of lieutenant. And police department, we hired a very, looks like a real good candidate. And I believe Jay, it's our first Arab American, right? And he speaks Arabic yet too? That's great. And it's a good, these are tested positions, so there's no bias involved or anything like that, but it's wonderful that we have a very diverse employee line in place and stuff then too. But anyway, one of the kids read a thank you letter from the fire department to the public works. Easter weekend, we had a big fire along the railroad tracks going through town. You had multiple fire departments out there. Our truck got stuck in the mud at 11 o'clock at night, and Public Works came out with a big front end loader to pull the fire truck out of the mud and stuff. And I says, isn't that something where the Public Works rescued the fire department and stuff then too, And I says, I'm sure the police would have did the same. I'm like, no, they wouldn't and stuff then too, So, but I'll go through this real quick. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on just things that are going on in the last couple of months. When I came in office 2 years ago, I inherited almost $104 million of unfunded debt. Since then, I think the world of our finance director. He and I worked on a 70-page report on how to deal with the debt. We came up with a strategic financial plan, and what we're doing now is we actually put almost $4.2 million against that every year until the year 2040, until that's paid. And this way it protects our credit rating. We have a AA credit rating right now, and we do that before we consider operations costs yet too. So we all live a little bit skinny, but at the same time we're living up to our debt that we have then too. The village, just a couple weeks ago we passed our budget. We do an appropriation budget every year. This is the first budget in the last 5 years that's actually balanced. We've always, a lot of people operate on deficit budgets. We had a balanced budget. Our audit came back really good. Our auditors said that our revenues were better than our expenditures, but we're flat because of the debt that we have then too. So I mean, everything's being spoken for, but we're managing our money well. Also, just recently, 2 weeks ago, we renewed our 5 insurance policies in town, and the biggest one for any business and community is workman comp. And in the history of the village, they've always been with the same company. And 2 years ago when I came in office, that's the first thing I want to do is shop the insurance. I brought in an alternate who I knew was a good quality company, and they had lower premium, lower deductible, yet the board chose to go, and I was right before I was seated as mayor, and the board chose to go with the more expensive insurance. Okay, nothing I can do about it. Last year, I wanted to shop the insurance and gave 90-day notice to my agent. Agent shows up at meeting unannounced and kind of like protecting his own interest, and he goes, you didn't tell the carrier. I said, well, what do I have you for? And, that kind of thing, and so it was a sandbag thing. So this year I had to do it again. But this year, in the interest of the village and certainly your tax money, I couldn't get that quality company to even give me a quote because they did their job a couple years ago. They went through major professional hours to come up with a good quote, and we flipped. We took the more expensive insurance. He goes, Mayor, you're going to be upset when you see what's going to happen here because I used a good quality company, and basically I bluffed. I acted like I had a quote and I didn't have it. And sure enough, my carrier came back and discounted our insurance $110,000, you know, and then knocked another 55 grand off for one of these help programs where, you know, it's one of these assistant programs that we're gonna participate in. It's a good thing. So we saved $167,000 2 weeks ago, you know. So again, those are the things, as we all know in business, you need to do sometimes in the interest of good business and saving money and stuff then too. Hold your cards close to your chest, you know, that kind of thing. And as much as I'm very transparent with my board, I'm willing to work with them, everything I need to do. I was a trustee for 6 years before I was a mayor. I was in the glass business for 25 years. I know how to negotiate. I know, I was one of the biggest glass companies in Chicago. And certainly you just don't want to just lay down because I'm using other people's money. I pay all the bills like I do at my house. I look at every single check when I sign it and stuff then too. A couple other things. I'll just give you one low side, but we're doing what we can with the help of the police department right now. You know, you'll have these in a lot of neighborhoods too. I've got a senior citizen that can't take care of himself and hasn't had running water in his house for almost 6 years. You can't live in a house without running water. You know, you can't take a shower. You can't even wash your hands in that house. The gentleman, I called in some senior services, and that bill's paid. The guy won't turn the water on. Well, it's probably because the lines are bad or whatever. I had to take him to court a week or two ago, and they ordered him out of the house until everything's fixed. Well, now it's even a bigger problem because now he won't leave the house, and he can only be there to clean it. And now today we're taking action to actually lock the house up or board it up. And there's, I won't go into it, but it's an ugly situation, the conditions of the house. And he's in a beautiful neighborhood, and his neighbors are feeding him and things like that. And I'm like, oh God, you're making this worse. You know, I'm over here, and I have all the sympathy in the world for people. You know, we're all Christian, you know, and it's like you all want to do what you can to help folks out. But at the same time, we got to do what's right and what's healthy for everyone too. So these are the parts of the job that the mayors and certainly the police and fire understand as well too. This is the part of the job I absolutely hate, and you know, but it's something that's necessary to do as well. So we're trying to do the right things and take the right steps to make it happen and stuff. And actually, one of the hotels in town actually offered a 3-night stay to this man for free while we bring in a service to clean it up. But I'm understanding that if I use village monies, obviously all I can do is lean this guy's house because he doesn't have the resources to pay us for it and stuff then too. So I mean, do I go in and do all this for, you know, and you know, one day, one decade we'll get paid back and stuff, or what? And these are the hard things that go through and stuff then too. I'll wrap up with, give you a quick list of some, we do a lot of participation, what everybody here is aware of, like with the 6B tax incentives. It's not that we try to give away business, you know, monies I should say. We want to encourage more business to come to the Village of Alsip. So the relationship we have with Cook County, where they get a tax break for 12 years. Just recently the board approved one for a company called AA Restoration. They're going to occupy that property at 115th and Mayfield. They used to be the granite company. Lynch Ventures is going to come into the GC America property that they're going to vacate at 123rd and Costner. They're moving in that new building they built at 127th and Hamlin. Lynch Ventures actually owns 5 car dealerships in Wisconsin, all Chevrolet and Chrysler and whatnot. He's going to open a tow truck dealership there, and he does. And I think I read something like $60 million a year in sales and stuff then too. But it's one of these kind of things where a lot of it's tax exempt, so he could generate as much as $1 million in tax revenue a year out of that. So I was never big on renewals for 6Bs, but you have to qualify certain businesses that you don't want to fight with and not to leave town. Quality Snack Foods is put in for one. Roosevelt Paper was a huge one, and we appreciate them staying in town. That was a 464,000 square foot warehouse and stuff then too. So I don't want to get stuck with a warehouse that big. That's going to be a monster to get rid of. Prestone just did the same thing, and that's as far as we took it. Donson Machine is going to expand. They're going into a new facility at 115th and Cicero, and we welcomed A.A. Jacobs recently. They took the Prax Air property at 127th and Ridgeway. We just rezoned the Blue Island Phenol property at 131st and Homan from I-3, which was heavy tank use, to I-1, make it more appealing to somebody, and they'll get rid of that property quicker. That dormant property does us no good to anybody. We need to have businesses moving in, so we did that in the industrial area. And then we just approved a couple weeks ago, 7-Eleven. I go to these deal-making shows every year. 7-Eleven's going to build a new footprint store at 127th and Pulaski. They're going to knock down the mobile gas station there and the restaurant next door and put up a 4,000 square foot 7-Eleven with car gas in front and diesel fuel next to it then too. And the only caveat was they wanted to offer video gaming. Now, I asked the board last year if they would approve that, and the board said no. In video gaming and gas stations, it was a 3-3 vote, and I voted yes. I was the tiebreaker, because the reason I said yes is when I see, and especially in a situation like this, I see a gas station failing, I see a restaurant that's failing, you're bailing these guys out, I can get new development in there, and I'm going to, you know, obviously we're going to charge a little more for licensing and everything else, because there could be more calls for service or oversight and something like that then too. So the licenses won't be cheap, and it's not there to hurt, but I got to compensate our people, and I'm not going to do it on the back of the taxpayer and stuff then too. And then I just brought on Diliberto Real Estate to help market some properties on Pulaski. Last couple of years, we spent $2.2 million going down Pulaski using TIF money that was going to die on 127th Street. That was a 50-50 split with all the business owners going down Pulaski. That's kind of what helped us balance our budget. We're actually, our retail sales taxes are up 6% higher than we anticipated because of the business we stimulated by the good look of the community going all the way down the street. Even Ray Lefevre, who owns McCarthy Ford, he called me one day. He goes, "Whatever you're doing, and keep doing it. I'm selling more Fords down at my end of the street, and Ford won't let me leave Chicago address, but your Main Street looks awesome." And then we did put in for we get good interest rate. I mean, good rates on EPA loans. We're going to do many small streets with water main replacements coming up. I did submit for a capital bill a couple weeks ago to one of the 3 organizations I belong to, and what I asked for, folks, was I asked for $2 million, because you have to have matching funds, so you got to watch what you're asking for, but I asked for $2 million worth of road resurfacing in the industrial parks. You guys, you know, your businesses represent commerce. That's good for you, for your business, it's good for the state, it's good for everybody. Unfortunately, those trucks are so darn heavy, they beat the heck out of the streets, and I can actually focus more of my MFT money on residential streets instead of the industrial parks and stuff then too. I kept it a marginal ask. I was at a meeting 2 days ago out at South Suburban College, and there were towns there asking for new hotels and new, you know, this and that and everything, bridges and stuff. It's like, no, the rule was shovel-ready projects, and you had to have matching funds. You know, so read the rule book, you know, and it's like, this is what we're asking for right here. We're going to live within our means. And last thing I'll say is I was approved the other night. I need to replace a police and fire commissioner, so I'm going to ask retired Judge Tom Dwyer to do that. He's a village resident. He's a good guy. He used to be a policeman years ago. And we had a great corporate turnout. Not too many residents in it the other day, but Saturday we had a village-wide cleanup day. Many of the companies in town sent out nice crews to help us out with cleanup. We filled up 4 dump trucks full of garbage throughout the village and stuff then too. Sprinkler fitters sent out 25 guys, and I'll tell you, it was hilarious. I was out with them on Cicero Avenue over near Borough Cemetery. First thing I did, I bent over to pick up some garbage. I picked up a $20 bill that's been buried out there and stuff then too. Full of mud, you know, that kind of thing. You know, there's a little corner missing. I got to get somebody to pass that off someplace, you know, but yeah, I found $20 out there, and I told these guys, I go, man, when I was a kid, I used to work as a bouncer in one of the biggest nightclubs in Chicago. I says, whenever you're in a bar, always watch the floor. I says, you know, there are a bunch of young guys out there with me. I says, money don't fall up, guys. Always watch the floor and stuff then too, you know. And then in the past 2 years, we've hired at least 12 policemen, 9 firefighters. We had the student government thing, and I just got 4 trustees elected a few weeks ago. We're swearing them in next week. Actually, I got 3 re-elected and 1 new person. Very nice woman, Catalina Nava Esparza. She used to be she used to work at UIC, but she's got a master's in economic development, urban planning, and with a minor in economics. I think she's going to complement us well, and it should be great to have on our village board then too. And I am going to plan on implementing a lunch with the mayor real soon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my assistant Becky reach out to you folks, and every so often, whenever you're available, if you have just an hour, if you ever want to come in and meet with us, I want to invite maybe 2 businesses at a time so it doesn't get crazy. And I don't want to take away from your day. We're all very busy people during the day, but if you ever want to get together for lunch or something, we'll put something together. We'll do that like at least once or twice a month and stuff then too, okay? And real quick, any questions? Anybody have a question? Go ahead, sir.
I just want to mention, great job.
Thanks.
There's recently in the news high-level exposure to malware attacks, villages and businesses. And I think that my partner here, John Fanning, knows where I'm going with this. I think it would be a good idea to be able to put something like that together for both businesses and, of course, surrounding towns, learning to use preventative measures, because you just cannot be where we are in today's time. You cannot afford
Right.
to pay.
Right.
And it's just that and ransomware. And so, you know, those are two things that I think would be really great to work on, because it's really it's bad.
I'm happy to engage our IT person with that too. He does a great job, and certainly I can share some information if anybody's got some assistance with that. That's fine. Thanks. Well, I appreciate. Thanks you again for having out. And I didn't want to talk so long, but I'll tell you, so far we're off on the right foot, and we're doing the best we can. And I'll tell you one thing I start off almost every speech with, and not here obviously, but is I remind everybody that Alsip is home to 20,000 residents during the evening. It doubles during the day with all the jobs. And I tell you, you know, while we're very focused on the needs of the residential and commercial communities, the industrial community is huge. You guys pick up the bulk of what goes on financially and whatnot in town. So certainly, if anybody needs my help or anything, please always reach out. And actually, every email I have my personal phone number on there too. So please let me know if you ever need my help. Thanks.
My talk this morning is really about your family, both young and old. I don't know your family, so I'm going to talk about mine. My story is told in two parts: happy thoughts, funny to me at the time; not happy thoughts, not funny at all. Telling this story along with the information shown on the screen will help you understand the problems, oftentimes terrible problems, facing a great percentage of us. Ron, go ahead. Nearly 10,000 baby boomers will turn age 65 each day over the next 15 years. 3 million and change per year for the next 15 years. 53,450,000, you can read that. That's the population age 65 and older. And that population, as he was doing the screenshot, was multiplying at the time he took it. This was taken several days ago. So I think we have more than that over the age of 65. Go to the next slide. The percentage is 70%. 70%. People over 65 will need long-term care services. 7 out of 10 of you in this room will need long-term care services after the age of 65. The next 3.9 years, average length of long-term care claim lasting longer than 1 year. The next one I happen to be intimate with. 4 to 8 years, average life expectancy after Alzheimer's disease diagnosis. Next slide. Let's go to the middle. Today, home health care is about $75,000 a year. This is at a 3% inflation rate. Ron, go down to nursing homes. Semi-private, $85,000 a year. Private, $102,000 currently, annually, state of Illinois. I'm going to read. $200,000 a year in the future, maybe times 2, Mom and Dad. My family can't burn through that amount of money and expect to leave anything of a decent amount for our children. Let's go to the next one. This is my Dear John letter. This is my long-term care policy. Ron, go down to current. My wife has a letter just like this. I have $356 a day that's going to be payable for my lifetime. It takes 90 days, that's the waiting period. That $356 a day is growing at this time at 2.7% annually. I'm going to repeat, I have benefits that will pay for my lifetime. The 90 days is waived if treatment starts in my home. So guess what? If Monique and I ever need this service, Monique is my wife, we're going to stay in the home for 90 days. By the time we need this service, could be $400 a day, $500 a day, that type of thing. Okay? Going back to my words. Our wild card, as I call it, how much, how long, seems to be under pretty good control. I want to show you why I have long-term care insurance. I have a daughter who loves dolphins. That's a beluga whale, actually. Most of the time, it's dolphins. At SeaWorld several years ago, Nell said, "Daddy, why are they giving that fish a fish?" My response, "For doing something that is great and very, very difficult," was my answer. To this day, the words, "Hey, Dad, give me some fish," in our family results in cheers or applause, or "Great job, Nell," or "Great job, Tess," our second daughter. I have to tell you something. In a few days, I will have been married 50 years. Please give me some fish. Not to the same woman. There was a vacation in the middle. Next picture. During my vacation, I got a chance to do some things I began to learn as a child. That's me. I have no idea who that young woman is. Takes a while. My vacation suddenly came to a screeching halt. To quote Winnie the Pooh, I was smitten. About 2 years before this picture, Monique walked into my life while I was walking into my office. She asked me for directions to a job interview with a person who happened to be a client. Monique is here dressed in full battle array. To this day, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes on. Monique is one of 6 Irish sisters. All have French first names. All letters begin with M. All have 7 letters. All middle names begin with C. Her father was John Joseph. Her only brother is John Joseph, and I'm John Joseph. Go ahead, Ron. Monique is still the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes on. June 8th of this year, we will have been married 34 years. Longer than most prison terms. Let's move along. During the next 10 years, if we both stay healthy, we can expect to live into our 90s, or perhaps longer. That's the good news. I'm going to read this. Fixing the problem of aging is the mission of Silicon Valley, where billions is being poured into biotech firms working to hack the code of life, despite concerns about the social implications. Go ahead. Before you go to the next one, Ron, I don't consider living to age 120 to be good news. About 5.5 million Americans age 65 plus had Alzheimer's disease in 2018. That's 1 out of 10 people over the age of 65. By mid-century, someone in the U.S. will develop the disease every 33 seconds. Parkinson's disease. I can almost read this one without having to. 1 million Americans live with Parkinson's disease, which is more than the combined people with MS, muscular dystrophy, or Lou Gehrig's disease. There's a huge price to pay to live a long life. I'd like you to meet my father. My father, this is in the late 40s, he was 30 years old. Dad was in the machine tool business. I mentioned that to someone here today because when I walk into a machine tool shop, I always ask to go in the back. The smell is like coming home. He worked there with my 2 uncles. During the 3 summers I worked there were about 80 employees. Dad died in his bed at the age of 82. 10 months prior to his death from cancer, he was able to do many of his ADLs, activities of daily living. I want to hold off on this slide. Just leave it where it is. In my opinion, I have three choices. I can be the insurance company, and I can pay the bills. I can transfer the unknown to an insurance carrier. They will pay the bills. I can go broke, and I can go on Medicaid. I don't know of any other choices. Let's move along. No, back up, back up. Bathing, continence, dressing, eating, toileting, transferring, or cognitive impairment. 40% of all long-term care claims are cognitive. We're living too long. Long-term care can be received at home, in the community, or in a nursing home, or assisted living facility. Okay? Now go ahead. Ron, back to Dad. I wish I had a picture of Sam. Sam was my father's brother. He was an orthopedic surgeon. Sam was God's gift to our family. He knew what to do and when. Unlike many families, from day one, we knew what to expect, where to go for help. Doctors, nurses, hospice professionals. He had them come in at the right time, when it was time. Next slide. 83% of help provided to older adults is delivered by friends or family. If any of you have done this, you know this is heavy lifting, very heavy lifting. Next one. More than 75% of caregivers are women. I did not marry a woman 15 years younger than I am, have her put up with my nonsense for 34 years, and then years from now have to bathe me, dress me, or toilet me. You saw what I had with John Hancock. There's a darn good reason. Now I'm going to tell you something. Don't move, leave that right where it is. Aside from the money that will be spent by an insurance company, not you, the following information is priceless and part of every long-term care policy. Go. Your family calls a toll-free number to begin the claims process. The insurance company arranges for a care coordinator, a licensed health professional, who will assess and coordinate your family's plan of attack, create a plan of care, what to do and when. The care coordinator sticks with the family throughout the process. They help with initial paperwork, filing the claim, and monitoring the claim all the way through with your family. They don't charge for this service. Raise your hands if you've had experiences like I've had. I'd like to know. Come on, don't be bashful. Okay. How many of you own your own business? Hands high. Thanks. How many of you have family members that are in your business? Here we go again. Ron? One plan you will keep. 88% of all life insurance policies ever bought, 88% terminate before death. I wish I owned an insurance company. 99% of all long-term care policies are kept. That's 0.07% are not kept. This is the only one, the one you're likely to use. I'm going to repeat, 70% over the age of 65 will need long-term care. Okay, like my father, Monique and I have a business. Actually, we have two. One's a C corporation and one's an LLC. Go ahead. Long-term care insurance, like health insurance, enjoys the same tax deduction All business entities take 100% deduction for total premiums paid. Owners and employees don't pay taxes on the long-term care money they receive. Business owners that establish a health savings account, more later, allow their employees to buy long-term care insurance with pre-tax money. Your association has a 5% premium discount on all policies purchased. The policies are portable. If someone leaves your employee, it goes with them. Hold on, Ron, I want to see where I am. That's Mom. Late 1940s, 29 years old, loved her martinis. Loved them. Vodka martini rocks, waved the vermouth over the glass. How many of you know what a stinger is? Aha. I know. God created whiskey to keep the Irish from ruling the world. Mom had no interest in politics. For 30 years, until she divorced Dad, Mom did rule over our house. What the hell did you do? There was a buzz when Mom plugged in the toaster. Sparks, no lights. Dad fixed it and just returned and had loudly posed that question. Mom politely said, "I did this, you," and shoved the plug back in. No lights. Sparks again. My brothers and I had never heard Mom swear. Dad went to fix it. Mom walked back to the stove. Bobby whispered, "I don't understand what Mom said." I said, I think she said that Dad is not smart and Grandma's a dog. Mom loved to give dinner parties. Okay, everyone, come with me. Coffee and dessert is in the living room. But Jeanette, that dish will get warm and might spoil. What will spoil is the great conversations we're having right now. Follow me to the living room. Next morning at 5 a.m., Mom would be in the kitchen doing dishes. It was like clockwork. She had her own music going. She was clearing the table. Bob called me and told me that Mom was putting away dishes that had not been washed. I'll hang in there. Somebody say, okay, go, somebody say something. It took Mom 8 years to die. In her 90s, on the high side of those that have Alzheimer's disease. I didn't mean to get this messy, but I'm telling you about my family. And I'm trying to turn a page. And I will get it done. When her money ran out, she was transferred from the nursing home to a Medicaid facility. She was there 2 years. Filial law. If Mom had died today, there are 28 states, any one of which would come after me for the Medicaid money spent. Do I need to say that again? Next. They're in salmon color. Illinois is not one of them. Yet. I want to read something to you. Ron handed me this as I walked in. Family filial responsibility support status in the United States. I'm reading 2. Georgia. Citizens National Bank versus Cook. Maryland. Listen to this one. Corby versus McCarthy. Father's duty to support adult disabled child. There are not many people at all that know about this law. And you are probably some of the first people to understand that it does exist. The reason you might not know about it is it hasn't hit Illinois yet. Unlike today, Mom's Medicaid facility was, in my opinion, not a bad place. Millions of people are running out of money, like Mom did. Sons and daughters are struggling to pay back Medicaid costs for their late father or mother or both. Ron, if you're going to go on Medicaid, assets less than $2,000, you can keep your home if the spouse is living there. They're going to lien that property, and they're going to get their money eventually. There's a 5-year look back, checking your assets. Many people have tried to hide them. Most have not succeeded. I know people every day that, in my opinion, will face the challenges that my mother faced. Dad, Monique's mother and father, never had to face them. Thousands of people who might run out of money and end up on Medicaid now have a chance to avoid Medicaid. Now have a chance to avoid Medicaid. If Medicaid is in their future, if it's there, they will qualify without losing their savings. January 1st, 2019, Medicaid qualification. Illinois is now the 43rd state to have a long-term care partnership. Example, Janice is the vice president of sales. Her employer, in this particular case, has a health saving HSA plan as part of the medical insurance plan with her employer. Janice has got $180,000 in her 401k, $120,000 net of mortgage in her home, $450,000 in savings. She has $650,000 of assets. She buys one of two. There is one partnership policy now qualified in the state of Illinois. The second one is on board within the next month or two. Both tremendously good long-term care carriers. She buys one of two partnership qualified policies, coincidentally with a limit of $650,000. She can buy a higher amount because her assets may increase, and that's something that would be discussed with her. Well, she gets ill. She gets ill. She becomes ill. She starts receiving home health care, then a nursing home. The extended nursing home stay ends. Her long-term policy ran out. She's transferred to a Medicaid facility. Janice's assets, her assets are protected from Medicaid recovery. Guess what the kids get? Guess what her family gets? Next. Next slide, Ron. That's my business card. Take a picture of it if you'd like. Mr. Fanning has several over there. I'm happy to take your questions. Ron, if you want to come up here, shoot at me, guys. Go ahead. Raise your hands. Yes, ma'am.
What if you have a living will and trust?
Where's the estate planners? Estate planners raise their hand. I am not able to answer that question. That's a legal question, and I do apologize. I can't help you. Mark?
If you have a living trust that's revocable,
Would you stand up, Mark, please?
if you have a living trust that's revocable, they're going to be able to get to it. You know, it's hard just to say because that's your own asset. And with a living trust, you don't even get a separate taxpayer ID number. It just gets filed within 4 years.
I can't believe there's not any other questions. Maybe I did too good a job. Mr. Fanning?
Yes, so if I own my small business, I want to give my employees the opportunity to get involved with something like this so that they are protected, or they protect their parents and their families. Is there some sort of a group type of situation that can be put together?
The answer is yes, depending upon numbers, depending upon the corporation, and they're all individual. CSLLC partnership. I have 11 phone calls to return, which I will within the next week, on prior presentations, and we discuss rather personally with the people that own these businesses how to handle this, and we don't normally do it in a public forum. The answer is yes, a lot can be taken care of.
And is there a tax incentive for the owner of the company?
If you're a C corporation, there's a tremendous one. There are other methodologies for doing this, and there are deductions of a personal, do this, help me with this one, Ron. Help.
As far as tax deductions for a business, any business entity, whether it's a C Corp, LLC, any other S Corps, can take 100% tax deduction, just like they take the same deduction for health insurance, if they provide long-term care insurance for their employees.
And a follow.
Go ahead, no, keep going.
If the employee engages in this, can this part of the premium that the employer takes out of the check, can that come at pre-tax dollars?
It can't come on pre-tax dollars. However, if you have a health savings account at your company,
which he does,
you're allowed to pay yourself back, actually, whatever was taken out of your check at the end of the year. You can pay yourself back from your health savings account with pre-tax dollars.
And again, it's a mechanical thing that you have to sit down and chart and say, here's what you have, here's the number of employees, and because you have this number, this 5% discount is standalone. It's standalone for anyone that needs to buy long-term care. On the corporate side, you can do some further planning. And I'm being evasive because every structure, every family. I have a family the other day who I was meeting with, and they have a 40-year-old married with 3 children, and they're a 47-year-old. Very profitable business, C Corporation. He said, I just want to buy this for my kids. I want to get done with it now. I want to pay. I said, what do you want to pay? He said, I want to pay 10 premiums and have it locked. It was all deductible. We took care of that. That can be done. So, sons, daughters in the business, people of a certain age in the business, I'm just rambling here. But I need to know where you are, what your structure is, how many employees you have. Do you have medical insurance? How are you treating the medical insurance? Are you passing some of the cost along, and all of those things? And then we design a plan, and we have several we're designing right now. Was I evasive enough? All right.
Did everyone understand the partnership, Illinois partnership? Pretty understandable. I'm excited about it. We've been waiting since 2009 for Illinois to finally have a long-term care partnership. 42 other states have had it, and basically it helps the Medicaid budget in the state, so eventually we finally have it, but it also helps the people that have a long-term care policy, because whatever dollar amount you get for your long-term care policy, if it's $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, whatever dollar amount you use up because you need long-term care, you're going to protect an equal dollar amount of your assets from Medicaid recovery and be able to pass those assets on to your kids, your family members, your heirs. So I think it just started January. No one's really heard about it yet because it hasn't been publicized by the state, but it's now live in the state of Illinois.
Yes, sir.
You had mentioned trust earlier. How about blind trust? Or is there any answer to that in terms of...
When you say a blind trust?
Yeah.
Why do you think I brought my attorney with me? Mark? Help.
By blind trust, you mean like a revocable trust? I think you could make an argument that they can't get to it because you parted with them and you didn't control those assets.
So it still has key possible.
Yeah, you can probably do it that way.
Hold it, there's a lady in front of you, Mr. Fanny. Yes. Cubs?
Is there what?
Chicago Fire Department.
Thank you, Chicago Fire Department.
Yes,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Midway.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, I've got a dad at Banner here right now. He's 85. He's approaching end of life. At what age is it too late to buy something like this?
For your father, it's too late. For your father, it's too late. Yes. Police chief, the fire chief would say, if there's a fire burning, I'm not able to put it out. there are various classifications of rates for long-term care, and there's no, it's interesting because this product doesn't require insurance physicals like health insurance does. There's a telephone interview, and we have set up, I think, 11 directly with the carrier that we run rates, and here's the bottom, here's the top, that type of thing. And your husband is this age and this age, and but from what you've said, blood pressure, a little of this, but nothing crazy. And then we submit the insurance application electronically to the insurance company, and they take over. They'll pull some medical records for the various things that we monitor, and eventually, a week or 2 or 3, I can call and say that we're able to do this. We're going to run it through your corporation. Your C corporation is going to be totally deductible. Well, I've got 3 or 4 more employees, I want to keep talking. That's all right, fine. If that's what we do, so we'll do that. And that's the best I can give you. If there is there's a lot of diseases that people have, certainly dementia, that they diagnose, this is not going to help. Not going to help at all. There's a tremendous amount of people that are not aware of this problem. There's a tremendous amount that really don't get the impact of 7 out of 10 of cognitive. And a lot of you that may be in healthcare facilities know that. Mr. Payne, you're going to do it again.
Yes. The thing that concerns me about this is that so many people, including myself, we have to expect that we're going to need some long-term care eventually, if we're lucky. If we live that long.
I'm not debating.
So we have a choice. And the choice is we can spend everything that we've ever worked for and all of our assets and try and stay alive inside of a nursing home with extended care. Or we can plan ahead and have an insurance policy. But one of the things that concerns me is, let's say I have a $300,000 or $600,000 policy. At the end of that policy, I'm going to go on Medicaid. And on Medicaid, I will not have a choice of where I stay. They decide. I will not have a choice of a private room. I can be in a room with 4 other people.
3, my mom.
Oh, well, that's with 4 people.
No, she had 3. Okay, go ahead.
Well,
okay, yeah, go ahead.
She had 3 plus herself, that's 4.
Okay, you got it.
So you're in a room with 4, there's 4 people in a room, and you can be anywhere that they decide where to go. And so that troubles me. So if we expend that $600,000, then of course you could also then go into your own assets to expend whatever is necessary to remain, let's say, in private care or what have you. Correct?
You are correct, with a couple of exceptions. The benefit that you're going to purchase is going to be current with what's going on in the state of Illinois. The inflation rate will be 4% or 5%. So that $356 that Monique and I have each, I bought the lifetime. You can buy pools of money. The pools increase every year that you're not in a facility. So the chances of keeping pace with a proper long-term care policy and not having to go into Medicaid are pretty good, actually very good. There's 2 companies, one of which is being approved for the partnership, that has a pool for you and a pool for your wife, and they're large. They have a common pool that you can use also. It'd be almost impossible to run out of money unless you live for 10 years. And basically, if you're into that type of problem, the statistics say you're not going to live 10 years. You're simply not. So I'm not, in this particular case that we demonstrated with Janice, it was a matter of affordability. It's $265 a month. This is what I can do. And I've got this here, so let's roll the dice. She's rolling the dice pretty well. I mean, she's got $650,000, and she has home health care, that type of thing. Who knows? But that policy that she bought, even though it's a lower amount, still has an inflation rate. It's still increasing to some level. So everything that we do, we try to keep pace with what's going on in the marketplace. How am I doing? Great. What, you want me to be quiet now and go away, or? You're the mayor. You're the mayor. I was just trying to talk longer than you did.
Anything else? Yeah, the way you said Illinois doesn't have that, what, fluvial wall
Yeah.
yet? I mean, is there talk that we are
Oh,
going,
come
or
on.
is this?
You have to be kidding.
I mean, is there talk?
Every state is going to have this. There's no money in the state of Illinois.
Right.
There's no money in any state. They are recovering money. They're coming after your son legally. They're saying, you're the one that makes the most money in the family. We know where your assets are, and we're going to send you this legal document. Your father has got Alzheimer's disease. Your father's on Medicaid. He's having real problems. Or your child is disabled and he's in a Medicaid facilities, and you, Dad, you owe us money. And we've got a lawyer that's going to send you a piece of paper that says, pay up. And that's going on everywhere. And I bet none of you, I'll lose the bet, in this room knew this was happening. If anyone did, would they raise their hand just so that I can prove my... Oh, yeah, you.
I knew it was a
Because I
job.
told you. I mean, this is rough stuff. I don't have anybody that buys a long-term care policy today that says, give me $100 a day. I don't. I mean, I can't talk about Mom, that's a rough one. My father, he went fast. And it was a good thing he did. And Sam was there. It was a hell of a good thing that he did.
So, you know, it just blows me away, because, I mean, then what's the point of Medicaid? I mean, that's why there is Medicaid. I mean, we provide support to people with disabilities at Trauma Center.
Yes, you do.
And it's all Medicaid. And what they're gonna go after families, do they have to pay back if that?
Consider your mind blown.
Okay, that is just unbelievable.
20-some Medicaid facilities, I think, recently closed in Illinois. 20-some.
They already do that in 28 states. Now, they go after the families.
Yes, ma'am.
How about the VA? Like my father-in-law's at the VA in Antino. Could they possibly come after us to recover money?
I do not know. That's a good question. I don't know. The gentleman behind you is a veteran.
No. If your dad is a disabled veteran? Okay. Then you're safe.
The concept is, the understanding is that throughout your whole life, your family, your parents took care of you, and now when your parents need help, if you have assets, you're turning your back on paying for your family, and the taxpayers are paying the bill. And the state of Illinois' biggest budgetary item is for Medicaid is long-term care. About 40% of the money goes to pay for long-term care. So they have to be able to recover the money somehow besides asking the taxpayers to pay, especially if the family members have a lot of assets and they're just sitting on the sidelines going, oh, well, let the taxpayers pay for Mom and Dad. That's the argument.
I mean, you didn't ask to be born, so you're born, your parents get
Please,
sick,
ma'am.
and then you have to support them. It's amazing. Don't have children. That's the
Whether it's fair or not, there are various ways that taxes are being levied these days. And all kidding aside, I'm well aware of a family that is right now working with an attorney to figure out how to liquidate some assets that are going to be grabbed if they don't sell them. And they're a high basis asset. They're losing taxes by getting rid of them. This is not a pretty picture. Not at all.
Well, I was just telling us I can start smoking again because
Hey.
future goes.
Oh, what do you mean?
This is the longest meeting we've had. Yes.
So I just wonder if while they're making all of these, different assumptions about, and they impose the responsibility on the children, has anyone got any background investigating on what's going to happen
Well, that's a good possibility. I would say that a lot of people in the states that have these laws don't know the laws exist till they get something in the mail. That they aren't on the front page of the newspaper. They really aren't.
Hello, this is Dion Dean from Straight Talk. We're here in Alsip, Illinois for the business breakfast here in Alsip. We have the mayor here with us. I'll let you tell him your name, sir.
John Ryan.
And so how did you feel about today's breakfast, sir?
Very informative. I appreciate the information we were given by Mr. Barra regarding long-term care. It is important to a lot of families, and certainly when you're planning financially for the elderly in your family, or even for yourself at some point, good information there too.
So we look forward to, as far as maybe helping out our folks, if we can do it soon enough, or maybe even ourselves, to think about the cost of long-term care. Plus, we need more assistance in that age. Also, we had an opportunity this morning to address the industrial community with regard to what's going on in the village, as well as no police and fire departments as well too. Again, keep everybody up to speed. Things are going well. We're managing wonderful in our community, as well as services. We trained hard. Again, meetings like this are always good, as well as newsletters. We put these out twice a year to keep everybody informed of what's going on.
Well, that's great. We appreciate being here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Dion Dean again. I just wanted to, we had the actual guest speaker here with us. This is Mr. John Baer, and he's with Bayfield Incorporated. You are the CEO, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we just wanted to say and find out more about this morning. It was a great breakfast. Can you speak to our audience and let us know a little synopsis of what it was all about?
I gave a presentation on long-term care insurance. About 14% of all Americans have long-term care. And when you consider the number of Alzheimer's cases, 7 out of 10 people will have Alzheimer's disease over the age of 65. Most of them will live 4 to 8 years, 8 being on the high side. My mom was one of them. And this subject of stuff that's not covered by Medicare, by insurance, by whatever other types of insurance there is, nursing, hospice, and so on, is now insurable. And a lot of people have heard about long-term care. I made it my job to point it out, to talk to groups about how important it is. That's what I did this morning.
Well, you did a great job. We enjoyed your presentation, and also as we saw slides of your father, was your wife on there?
My wife's on there, and my mother is on there. Dad died in his house. Mom was in a nursing home. Then on Medicaid. And so I saw the system from both sides. A lot different today than it was then.
So did this influence you to go into business and do what you're doing today?
The answer is no. I've been in the life insurance business for many, many years. Several years ago, several friends and relationships started to have medical problems because they were approaching my age. And I realized, as families were running low on money, if not running out, that this product that I'd heard about, I better get smarter. So for the last several years, that's what I focused on. There's no reason to go under Medicaid. There is reason to go into nursing homes. And if you're going to self-insure it, you're foolish. You have to transfer it to an insurance company.
Well, listen, we want to thank you for being out today. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.